Good Tuesday morning. It's the main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and you know him as 17-year NFL veteran, 3-time Super Bowl champion for your Dallas Cowboys, and woo-wee, Ravens are terrible, folks. Dale Hillistrace here, everybody.
I come walking in, Steve's whistling. I don't know what's happened. He had to explain to me what's going on, but
Dancing.
never seen him happier.
I've been up since 2 a.m.
Whoa.
I'm telling you, I can't sleep, man. It's terrible. It's terrible.
You're just so excited about the Thursday-Friday combination? Or what's going on?
That's what's got me worried about it. I can barely walk right now. I do not want to be walking Cardinals Stadium with my ankle the way it feels right now. I don't want to be doing it on Friday with ASU.
Well, you can request a wheelchair and have your sweetie push around.
You're going to see a grown man crying. You're going to see a grown man crying. Okay, when I get to the stadium, a wheelchair, where you still got to park and you still got to walk all the way up.
You got
Do they meet you at your
executive
car?
parking. You're parking.
Do they meet you at the car?
Jeez Louise.
This week. I don't know, man. Who knows what time you're going to show up this week with all the traffic and everything.
Well, get there early.
5:15. Everybody's got to get out of school and work.
No, you said there's it's half day of school, so that excuse is out.
Autumn works. She's coming out
Take
Thursday.
the day off. Call in sick.
I think she's got a half day on that day.
Yeah.
And then Friday, 6 p.m. kickoff for ASU on top of that. At least the games are early. We done semi-normal time.
Next year before the schedule comes out, would you please consult Steve McCollum?
Dale, I don't understand why you have to have a Thursday night NFL and a Friday night home game. Why?
Would it be better if it was on Saturday at 7:30?
Saturday, Sunday, you can adjust to. We just did that a couple weeks ago. We did the Saturday night, midnight, and then Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff there. We can handle that. It sucks. You're tired, but you can handle that. Thursday, Friday, folks.
Or maybe decide, you know what? I'm going to save a little bit of money. I'm not getting season tickets to both. How about that? How about being a normal person? That's not hoity-toity.
You're such a negative Nilly, Mr. I don't like football. I don't like going to games.
I got my club seats.
I like going to games. I don't like it.
No, I don't.
The crowd on Thursday night is going to be fired up. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Drew Pensing. There's a few media people that are like, it's Kyler Murray's problem still. It's Kyler Murray this. It's Kyler Murray that. Most of them are turning on Pensing, and they're turning quickly, Dale, against him.
I was going to say, they're going to be fired up. Is it for the Cardinals or against the Cardinals?
Against Drew Pensing. It's amazing the media people that just hang on to their narrative when you know what the problem is. And I'm not saying you fire Drew Pensing. Maybe you do. Maybe you fire your wide receiver coach. Like the Atlanta Falcons have been struggling on offense. They benched their starting quarterback over the weekend. And what they do yesterday, Dale, fired their wide receiver coach. When it's bad, changes need to happen. Whether it's bringing a consultant, there's a lot of retired, successful offensive coordinator guys out there that you can't tell me wouldn't love to come spend a few months in Arizona in their retirement and be a consultant. They don't have any real job responsibilities. It's just come in, help us get ready for the game on the week and go. You can't tell me there's not anybody out there that can do that. And the Falcons made a change yesterday, and the Cardinals are digging in. I will say this. I listened to the press conferences yesterday. Drew Pensing goes out there, and he goes, oh, it's part of the thing. He was really optimistic yesterday in his press conference. Jonathan Gannon was a little bit more negative. I think Jonathan Gannon yesterday, and I mean, we could go on. Jonathan Gannon was about 18 minutes roughly on the Cardinals press. You can watch him too. Cardinals pages have them all when they're done, and then they save them on there. Jonathan Gannon, though, was very to the point. I want to focus on what Drew Pensing had to say more than Jonathan Gannon. I mean, Jonathan Gannon was like, look, we gotta start. Jonathan Gannon seems to be blaming more the execution on the field than the play calling itself.
Again, it'll be interesting to see what Bruce's take on this is.
Yes.
I think if the
By the way,
offensive
Bruce Cooper coming up. Sorry.
I think if the offensive line plays better, everything looks better. Now, again, I think Marvin Harrison's a problem. I've said that from the the night that they turned
Yep.
his name in. This isn't looking back and second guessing and rear view mirror.
Yeah. I mean, I told him to get Neighbors, but I said, go get Neighbors. But I also said, I'm fine with either one. It wouldn't matter, to be honest with you, this offense.
Well, it might have if you catch the balls thrown to you.
Well, that's true.
But the end of the line means the offensive line has to play better.
Yeah. So
And
you put it starts with the offense. Because, I mean, even with the offensive line problems, Kyler Murray's throwing the balls into guys' hands and they're dropping them. We find out yesterday that Zay, concussion happens on the last. Didn't even know about it. And then yesterday, concussion protocol.
And that's not good on a short week.
It's not. Yeah, aren't you in concussion protocol for at least 5 days minimum? There's a minimum time frame you have to be in there.
Well, the symptoms, there's a certain amount. The symptoms have to be gone, and which is good for the player. Not necessarily good for
Not
the
good for
team.
us when we want the Cardinals to win on Thursday night, Dale.
Come on, suck it up.
Just catch the middle ball thrown at you. In all seriousness, that's not good news going into this week. James Conner's already out. So you're fundamentally already having to change your offense, on this side and where we go. Before we get into the two clips I got, of course, Bruce Cooper joins us about 8:30 today. Talk Diamondbacks, Cardinals, ASU as well coming up. But, Falcons made that move, fired their wide receiver coach yesterday, because they just haven't been performing. That's what I always say. Just change something. And it's not necessarily a firing. Get somebody some help. Pay more attention. It's kind of interesting to see. But let's throw up the show picks from last week, NFL. With that game last night, Ravens are in serious trouble. They are not Super Bowl contenders, at least at the beginning of the season. You can blame Travis Henry all you want for his 3 fumbles this year. The team as a whole, their defense is terrible out there. So Lions getting out there and, destroying the Ravens, out physicaling the Ravens last night. When was the last time you saw, and you start to see it a little bit last year, but when was the last time you said the Ravens were out physical?
Yeah, it was an interesting, that defensive line of Detroit, boy, they get after you.
Their offensive line gets after you, too. Yeah. It was amazing to see. But obviously, Kansas City beat the Giants, and the Chargers beat the Broncos. I don't think any other games happened over the weekend.
How about them, the monsters of the Midway showing up again? Well, you got a lot of red there. I can barely see.
Yeah. Maybe we should throw up the college ones from the other day as well.
A lot of red up there.
Yeah.
Have you turned in your walking papers and said I'm not picking NFL anymore?
No. I'm gonna struggle through this all year long. Is what I'm gonna do. Struggle through it all. We don't know what teams are until week 4, Dale.
Oh.
I'm still good. Still good. Then we can start to guess there. So there you go. I missed 3 games over the weekend. The only one we picked different is the one that is the one that hurts me the most. So it's okay, Dale. You don't be a homer. You don't be a homer for your Cardinals. You go ahead and root against the Cardinals there.
I didn't root against them. I just picked against them.
So yesterday, I'm hurting on the NFL side. Well, I'm going to count them up after week 4, and I have a feeling I'm not going to want to. Because I'm terrible in the NFL beginning of the season coming on that side. But yesterday, Drew Penzing, as I said, head coach Jonathan Gannon met with the media yesterday. I was shocked at how, I'm going to say negative, Jonathan Gannon. It wasn't negative, but he focused more on the process. Like, guys have to catch more. We need to spread the ball around more. Jonathan Gannon even said, we need to get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved in this offense early. So we know what that tells me after his post-game comments? That tells me that Jonathan Gannon's post-game comments was just defending the offensive coordinator and what's happening on the offensive side. Behind the scenes, he's telling them, this is what we need to do. We need to do this. We need to do that. Now you have to play with your heartbeat there on the offense. James Conner out, starting this week, on a short week, no less, to adjust to that. Has a lot of faith in Trey Benson, right? But that does tell me that Jonathan Gannon realizes the problem on this offense. I mean, they're not throwing for a ton of yardage. I mean, there's stats out there today that Kyler Murray, and we know this about this offense, it's a check down offense. It's always been a check down offense. You don't throw it deep. And they had some deep passes in this game, which they opened it up a little bit. Kyler Murray found some open guys, and then they dropped the ball. Probably because they were like, oh, my God, you're throwing it to me when I'm more than 5 yards down the field?
Again, to me, this is just me. If you can protect for 4.5 seconds, you have a chance to go downfield. And here's the other thing that I always chuckle at people. Okay, so the quarterback's getting chased around, getting hit, getting sacked, just avoiding sacks. And all of a sudden, one play, there's a clean pocket. And people go, well, the pocket was clean. I said, yeah, what about last 10 passes?
Yeah. He's jittery now.
I'm sorry, and I don't care if it's Tom Brady or if it's Kyler Murray. If you just got rushed 9 times, all of a sudden the 10th is a clean pocket.
Yeah. You're expecting the rush.
Yes.
Well, here's Drew Pensing. How worried is Drew Pensing in the deal? Well, let's check in. Drew Pensing, how worried are you?
Not really, no. I mean, we pushed the ball down the field. I can think of, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 or 6 passes in the second half that probably went 30-plus air yards down the field and, hit a couple of them, which kind of got us back in the game and gave us the lead there at one point. So, it's something we're going to continue to look at and work at, but not something I'm overly concerned with.
I mean, he's not wrong. Second half, they did have some longer passes. A few of them were dropped. But they did have some longer passes. But why is that now being an integral part of that? You can't tell me that Kyler Murray last year and then the first 2 games of this year was going, I'm just going to check it down here. And then third quarter of this game, he's like, you know what, I'm going to start launching at 20 yards down the field. Something changed, whether it be play calling, whether it be, hey, look down here. You know when you go to the sideline, they all get the tablet stale, right?
Yeah.
And they look at it back in your day, you had pictures you go through. And, maybe they saw something in the game and they made actual game changes and said, we could start throwing the ball downfield on these guys. And they did start to do it. I'll give him that. But to say he's not worried, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. This offense hasn't been that way so far. And like you said, you do have to worry about the offensive line and things like that. Here's Drew Pensing again yesterday. Hurts. This one hurts. Are you guys ready for this? The other thing that Drew Pensing said yesterday that stuck out in my mind, let's just hear it from him.
It's hard. I think at the end of the day, physical mistakes are going to happen. Certainly we want to get back to the details of the fundamentals of focusing on the football, locking things in, finishing the catch, all those things that go into it. But at the end of the day, I know that, if I can't pick out names individually, but the guys that had those issues, it's not a reoccurring theme. So I think it's one of those things that in a small sample size can happen at times. And you almost don't want to dwell on too much. Hey, move on. You catch the ball really well. You have great hands. Not something I'm worried about.
It's not a recurring thing. Marvin Harrison Jr. drops a lot of footballs. He did it against the Panthers. Right in his hands. He did it in this game against the Niners. We got to get back to fundamental football. When did you ever play fundamental football? Where the guys you're referring to. Now, D. McCardo, first time. I'll give that to him. Mistake in the game. Maybe got a little excited, dropped that ball. You cannot say the same about Marvin Harrison Jr. You cannot say the same. It is a recurring issue with him. What do you mean it's not an occurring issue? What are you watching?
Maybe he is watching Neighbors film from New York.
What are you doing? The lack of concern, like you said yesterday, if this was Michael Irvin, 10 years into his career, 9 years into his career, and he drops a pass, you ain't bringing it up again. You might not even show that play on film, right? That play might just get skipped in film study because it was an accident. It doesn't happen. But when it's constant, you got to be addressing it. Like when you fumble all the time as a running back, what do they do to you, Dale? They hand you the football and go, you walk everywhere with this football. And everybody's kind of swiping it out of his hand as he walks around all day, right? At school. You address it, and they go, we don't want to address it. It's not a recurring thing. What are you talking about? It's not a recurring thing.
Yeah. I really don't know what to say about the press conferences because it's like they're not acknowledging the problem.
Now, Gannon acknowledged it good enough yesterday that I know that he's concerned about it and he knows it needs to be fixed. Like, to where I felt comfortable with Gannon's responses yesterday. Drew Penzing, though, to me, it's like the penalties. Oh well, penalties happen. Yeah, drops happen, but not at the level and the where they're happening at now. I watch a lot of football. Do you guys watch football last night? Did guys drop footballs last night? Yes. Were they wide open 20 yards down the field and they hit them in the chest and they drop them? No.
Well, and I think a couple things. Number one, I mean, you saw Henry yesterday or last night fumble again.
Yeah. Now, and it has to be 3 fumbles in 3 games. Yes, you shouldn't have to, but you're addressing that with them today, right? As a coaching staff?
Yeah. But you, I don't know. To me, it's always interesting because it could go one of 2 ways. You could see the frustration in him because that's not him.
He apologized to the team.
I mean, he's played 10 years. That's not him.
Yes.
When you see, like if this was his second year and he didn't fumble last year, now all of a sudden the first 3 games, now all of a sudden you got, if I'm Baltimore, a ton more concern than a dude who's been in the league for a decade.
I agree.
And that is not his MO. Harrison's MO is he dropped passes last year, contested passes last year.
But he dropped ones that hit him straight in the hands without being. Yeah, a guy was on him, but not contested in terms of the guy can strip the ball, but he dropped balls that hit him right in the hands. That a receiver, NFL receiver catches.
It's one of those things that even at Graham's level in flag football, catch the ball before you make a move. You got to have the ball, and you can see the heads moving. And DeMarcado, he was looking to where he was going to run.
Just a lack of concentration. Penalties, right? On top of it, penalties in bad situations. To me, those are lack of focus penalties. And it started in April with the OTAs, and it had continued through training camp where you did not focus on those fundamentals. You can't tell me, maybe it's the case, but you can't tell me Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't dropping easy throws in practice. And then they probably just excused him. They went, he'll catch it in the games. And now you're dropping him in the games. The penalties, you're holding there, false start, whatever. And you excuse them. And then now it's happening in the games. You can't tell me that they've been perfect all offseason, going into training camp, and then all of a sudden week 1, it all just starts happening. It just doesn't happen that way, does it?
It certainly doesn't, not in my playing career.
Yeah, it's like you. Yeah, so like I bet you, like if I don't know if this is the case, but you got into the season in something bad. Like we'll just say penalties. It was just there. Week 1, penalty, stupid penalties. Week 2, stupid penalty. And I'm willing to bet you that you could go. You know what? We had a lot of these penalties in training camp, and we just, we didn't fix them. So now you're trying to fix them during the season, which is harder to do. Almost impossible to do with the practice times, et cetera. Everybody's beat up, and things like that. It's just you can look back and go, you know what, we probably should have addressed this earlier.
Again, like when I remember back to those times, we had officials at our practices.
I think they still do.
And I'm not sure what the Cardinals do. Yeah. I don't know if they have them or not, but I mean, and they would make a big deal out of it when you're in team period. You get a holding call, you jump off sides, you do those things that you used to cost your money in the offensive line room. You got heckled pretty good, and consequently during the game you didn't see it a whole lot.
Yeah, it's literally fundamentals, practice and fundamentals in practice leading up to the season and set that standard. I just don't think I think they're lackadaisical in their standards. And you saw that those 2 clips. That's how the whole press conference went for Drew Penzing yesterday. And it just rubs off to me as, we'll get better. We'll get better at it. Don't worry about it. We'll get better at it. It doesn't work like that. Like my ankle right now feels like it's about to explode, and I'm not sitting here going, it'll get better. It'll get better.
Yesterday you were.
I was. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you, though. The only reason I've been thinking about it today is because I'm like, man, Thursday and Friday are going to suck if I don't go get this thing fixed here today, probably. Gives it a day to kind of recover and everything and whatnot. But I don't know. It was worrisome. Falcons willing to make a change. Bloop. 3 weeks into the season. Bloop. Wide receiver coach.
See ya.
And the Cardinals are like, yeah, it's all right.
Well, the one thing
We'll
is,
fix it.
and the successful leaders, whether it's in business, whether it's in athletics, they observe a problem, they confirm a problem, and they make a change.
And that's what I said. On Sunday, I was like, Jonathan Gannon's doing that stubborn, he's my guy, I'm going to stick with him no matter what. But yesterday's press conference, he was more, he's still sticking with him, but he was more talking about the errors. And he said, it's all fixable, and we need to fix it ASAP, is what I think he said, was his exact quote. So he's at least acknowledging the errors now and that. Whereas on Sunday, he was like, I got zero problems with what's happening out there. Zero. None. Everything's perfect. It's amazing to see. And then just the media people that are just dead set that Drew Penzing is the guy for this position and everything. And they're just like, oh, it's all Kyler Murray. It's all Kyler Murray. Why, again, I was thinking about this last night. How come in the third quarter, Kyler Murray can throw the ball deep? But in the first two games, last year, first two games, and then first half of this game, he can't. And then all of a sudden in the third quarter, he can do it. There's something. Is there something in the coaching to give him that point? Because like when Jake Plummer was the quarterback of the Cardinals, they designed deep plays for him. Mark Trestman is on record talking about this. The offensive coordinator at the time. We designed plays to go deep, and Jake Plummer refused to throw the football deep, and he would always check it down. That happens in the NFL. But you don't go from, I refuse to throw down the field, to start throwing down the field in the third quarter. You just don't. You're either a check down quarterback or you're not. 5.3 air yards per attempt on Sunday. And they did have, now, like I said, some of those Ricotta would have been a lot better. Third lowest in a game since the start of the 2024 season. Like I said, it might be Kyler Murray to a lot of this as well. But the reason why I lean why it's not is because then all of a sudden he could throw deep downfield. Just out of nowhere, it seems like. Just one drive, it's like, oh, there's a guy 20 yards downfield. I'm going to throw it to him. Oh, I'm going to throw it to that guy down the field. Just out of nowhere. If you're a check down artist quarterback, you're a check down artist quarterback. You constantly do it.
The thing about Kyler Murray, though, is he does throw a pretty deep ball.
Yeah. He's got a weird, like, when he lets go of it, it's got this weird, like, bloop thing. And it almost feels like he doesn't have enough control on it. But yeah, he is confident when he throws it. You can see some guys throw the ball deep. Like Josh Allen throws a beautiful deep ball. And he's just confident. He's just like, this is going to land in my receiver's hands. Let it go. And then you got other guys out there that throw a deep ball, and they're like, let me just close my eyes and see what happens. Kyler Murray's got the confidence when he throws them. But why until the third quarter to do it? When you start running deeper routes and guys, that type of stuff. I don't know. It's a fascinating thing to see here. But I was interested in the press conferences yesterday, and Drew Penzing very optimistic on this offense. Almost like, it'll solve itself. We're good. And that worries me a lot. A lot.
You don't have Gannon's part of the.
I didn't cut that up here as much. No.
Okay.
But he wasn't negative. He was just Jonathan Gannon stoic. But he said, look, we got. He focused on the execution. We got to start executing. So Jonathan Gannon. My opinion on this is Jonathan Gannon is blaming the players for the mistakes, and he's not going to entertain that his offensive coordinator is an issue until the players start performing at their level. That's how I'll kind of summarize my feelings on that and everything. Yeah. No, I didn't cut it because I wanted to focus on Drew a little bit more.
At the end of the day, until the offensive line starts playing better, I'm not going to be critical of anything because that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
And if they can't improve the interior play, again, center's a really good center. Paris Johnson evidently is going to be back.
Game time decision on Thursday night. Him and Will Hernandez, game time decision.
Is it a knee?
Knee, yeah, knee.
Okay, because I didn't see him on the injury report last week.
No, that's the thing, and then just came up. Here's they either kept him out. Here's what I think happened. They kept him out on Sunday because of the short week. They wanted to just give him that time off, but it was either play Sunday and be off Thursday or off Sunday, play Thursday. But he wasn't doing both.
That's just so counterproductive to the way I was raised.
We'll see on Thursday if my feeling's correct on that. I'll say this. I think they're not announcing it. They say game time decision. I'm going to be shocked if you don't see Will Hernandez on Thursday night in the game. Here for two reasons. Even if it's spot duty, which you generally don't rotate offensive linemen. But if Adams, for instance, is struggling out there, you can switch him into that. The reason why I think so, get him out there for a few plays, see how his body reacts. You have 10 days off afterwards. I think this is and like I said before, not putting him on IR, you have to play him in the first 4. Otherwise, why wasn't he on IR?
There's so many things, so many questions about that. The fact that, this is the 4th game.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wasn't ready when final cuts were coming, and there's any doubt that he wouldn't be ready in the first 4 games, why not put him on IR?
What would have been the hurt?
Yeah.
When you're on IR, you can go in for treatment, but you can't practice, right? But if he has a knee injury, is he practicing? Is he really doing a lot in practice?
You can do stuff on your own.
You do it on the side, right? Somebody works with you on the side and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see what comes on of that. But of course, we'll get into that. College football, ASU, and I get Bruce Cooper's thoughts on that. Arizona, big matchup this weekend. Everybody's high on the Arizona Wildcats.
Aren't you?
No, not at all. Arizona Wildcats are one of 8 teams that are undefeated and have covered the spread in every game this season.
Go ahead, Wildcats.
Yeah, them, Texas Tech, Mississippi State, Houston, BYU, Vanderbilt, Florida State, and Memphis.
You are downgraded Vanderbilt since the time we started
They
doing the
have
show.
They have the heck of a quarterback. And they'll stop. They'll wake up and beat a couple people here or there, but it's Vanderbilt. Look, they beat South Carolina last week, and in South Carolina, come on, doesn't everybody do that? Bruce Cooper's up next, folks. Come on back in the main event.
Here we go.
And we're back here, main events. Looky who's here. Bruce Cooper, sporting the Diamondbacks, Dale. Look at this. He's excited.
I like that.
Hey, man, it's a huge week for our Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, and a huge series starting tonight against those hated people from the left coast.
Ohtani on the mound, no less. Dodgers haven't clinched that division. They're in the playoffs, but they haven't clinched that division yet, so they got to play. That's the bad part for the D-backs.
Yeah, it is. And look, I see the Diamondbacks are in a 3-way tie for that last playoff spot with the Mets and the Reds.
But they're one game back right now.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Excuse me. You're right. 1 game back. But the bad news is that the Diamondbacks would own the tiebreaker over the Mets, but they don't over the Reds. So they actually need the Reds to lose twice.
Right. And the same thing with the Mets, by the way. The Reds are sitting in the cat house because they have the tiebreaker against the Mets too. So Reds are sitting pretty right now for that.
If all 3 tie, the Reds are going.
Reds are going.
Yeah.
Yep, they have the tiebreaker on both. That's what's fascinating. What's happening there? But look at you representing them. I didn't even think about it. Put on a Diamondback shirt.
Absolutely.
Or anything.
Absolutely. And I'll say this much. I was watching the Giants game against the Diamondbacks last week. Diamondbacks had a chance to sweep.
Yep.
They had numerous opportunities to win that game, including the bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, nobody out. It's a 0-0 game. I mean, Zach Gallen pitched his behind off.
Wasn't that the Fott? Was that the Fott game?
That was the 3rd game of that series. The Diamondbacks have taken the first 2, so they have a chance to sweep.
Yep.
It's 0-0 in the bottom of the 9th inning, bases loaded, nobody out. McCann is the hitter. Lavello pinch hit Adrian Del Castillo for him. And I'm like, no.
You just needed contact.
Yeah, he absolutely. And that's what I'm thinking. I said, Adrian Lavello is playing that matchup, lefty-righty matchup.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, sometimes you just have to forget that and just play with your gut. Play with what your eyes are telling you.
not what they do anymore.
Yeah, Del Castillo is like I said, he's has a high proclivity to strikeouts, and that's what you don't need. And sure enough, he struck out. And the Diamondbacks didn't score in that inning. They wound up losing in extras. I said, mark this game. Now circle this game. This one's going to come back to haunt them. Because right now, if they won that game, they would swept the Giants, and they'd be just like the Reds, just like the Mets, 80 and 76.
You can do that, 38 times, I think we calculated on the season, Bruce.
But no, I hear what you're saying. I hear you saying. But this was the freshest. I mean, it's there for the taking. Bases loaded, nobody out, 0-0 game.
Yeah. And, I mean, you can do that with that Reds game that the Reds had the tiebreaker because of the rain. They didn't call that game. Moreno gets hurt in that game. Has to miss, what did he miss? 30-something games on top. So I refuse to play that game because then you got all the blown saves on top of it. I'll just phrase it this way. This is my thoughts on it. It's Torey Lovullo's Diamondbacks. It's what they do.
Tell
They
me
give
this,
away
though,
games.
Bruce. You follow them now, and Lovullo's been there for almost a decade. Don't you think some of that comes from above him, that you are going to do analytics, you are going to do exactly what the computer tells you to do?
You know what? Mike Hazen does not strike me as that kind of. He might try to tell you, want you to play this guy,
Right.
but he's not for
definitely
for situational baseball. He's
You
not
don't
going to
think
do
so?
that. No. Situational baseball, he's going to leave it up. I truly believe that.
I've heard that notes are passed in the dugout in some high-end stuff.
Well, I would hope that's not true. I would hope that's not true. Look.
He's got a desk that literally breaks out what the and by notes I mean he has a desk. Analytics come out, get put on that desk, and then Torey Lovullo has to study that during the game and then go, okay, this is the analytics.
That much is true as it relates to the analytics.
That's what I mean by the notes.
Yeah, they are deep into analytics, but when it comes to, I mean, like the late game situation we're talking about, that's total Torey.
Everybody,
I believe he has complete autonomy relative to situational baseball. Situational baseball.
Because I was under the impression, we've talked, obviously, when they were struggling, they traded everybody away. I said you can't just let Torey go if you're going to make a change. You can't just let Torey go. Hazen's got to go. I was under the impression that Hazen kind of controlled what Torey could or could not do in certain situations.
Yeah, look, I hate to even bring this up, but if you go back and look at it, it really makes a huge difference. Diamondbacks lost their third base coach to the Houston Astros, bringing a guy who
never coached third base before in his life,
and the Diamondbacks blew runs galore. I mean, he wouldn't send guys.
No.
And then he would.
Then he'd send him.
Then he sent Suarez, who's the slowest guy on the face of the planet.
He sent Bruce Cooper coming around there. He could throw down halfway down third baseline.
Hey, but since they made that change, things have really improved in that in that regard. And so you got to ask yourself: you're going back there, say you refuse to play that game. You go back and ask yourself, gee, how many games did that cost you?
And you know what's fascinating about that? And we'll get into it. You're going to be here for an hour and a half, and you'll say something silly that'll get me going. But it's a great correlation whenever Steve wants to go to it about the Arizona Cardinals.
It's a good point.
And you look at the offensive coordinator, and you look at the offense, and there's something there. I don't know what it is. I'm not on the practice field. But Diamondbacks waited too long to make a change. They could have made that 6 weeks earlier. It reared its ugly head enough where you go, you know what?
Yeah.
It ain't working. But they hung on.
Yeah.
Cardinals, how is it broke?
He's talking about the offensive coordinator.
I'm talking about fencing. I'm talking about all that.
Look, I just know this, that when Jonathan Gannon sees something differently than the media and the fans relative to his OC, then you already know that blood is thicker than water, if you will.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say, because it's
an interesting correlation.
If you make that third base coaching change 6 weeks earlier, do you win 2 more games?
Well, that's why I refuse to play that game, because there's 38, 39 opportunities to play that game.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season.
but
and there's too many of them.
But
It's been a monumental failure by the management of this team throughout the year, even the bullpen, etc., making those issues.
But Steve, I think there's a huge difference here, though. When we're talking about those 38 blown saves, you're trying to discover and find closers because you have lost your 2 ace co-closers.
They were happening before they got hurt.
No. I not look. AJ Puck pitched what 2 or 3 games total this year.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But it would have to be careful. Then he put Martinez. Remember when Martinez started having problems? Then they kept throwing him out there, and then they're like, "Well, we're going to give him a week and a half off," and then he goes out there and gets hurt because he wasn't ready to come back.
Well, absolutely. See,
those are the issues I'm talking about.
Well, they mismanaged his health because clearly something was wrong. Because he, when you look at the jugs gun, I mean, this guy. His fastball's like what 102.
Yeah, and it was like mid-90s.
Yes, so you knew something was wrong. So then they kept making around. Then you found out that hey, it's Tommy John. Dude's got an issue. But they never really had anyone beyond that because they tried Shelby Miller. I mean, it was like
Shelby Miller had some success.
Well,
and
and
then he got hurt, and then they shipped him off.
And that's what I'm saying.
Now he's got Tommy.
You know. It's crazy, and so they kept trying. But here, I'm talking about managerial decisions that, again, I think there's a huge difference between putting in a closer, trying to say, hey, close that game, and that guy is not adept to doing that.
I
He's
agree
not
with
used
you
to
on
that.
Closers
As opposed to a bases loaded, nobody out situation, and you got a contact hitter, and you pinch hit him.
But the closer situation that they came into this season with. Right, that affects. It's kind of just like football.
Sure,
Going to do that correlation.
There's no
ASU
question.
last year couldn't kick field goals, which meant
Right.
they had to go for it on 4th down. You
Right.
changed the way you play in the field to get to that point. But it's just everybody knew in the situation you brought up, Del Castillo is not the guy to put. McCann was the guy you should hit in that situation. Or there was somebody else on the bench. I don't remember who it was that would have been a better option. And I love me some Del Castillo, but there's situations you don't want him at the plate.
No.
And everybody, it was all over Twitter. I wasn't even watching that game. I caught it later. I wasn't even watching that game. And all over Twitter, everybody was going, what are you doing pinch hitting? What are you doing pinch hitting Del Castillo in this situation? And then afterwards, Story goes, I felt it was the right decision. And it's just, that's where you go, what?
Yeah. It again, I'd like to see him doing what the team has kind of morphed into since the trade deadline. They've gone back to embracing the chaos. And I see that Torrey, it seems to me now he's done a few things with his gut as opposed to because there is a situation when I like to see Alek Thomas finish games defensively because I think he's the best defensive center fielder. Unquestionably that the team has, but he's one of the top 2 or 3 in the game. But he's said, no, I'm not going to send Alec up in there. I'm going to send someone else, and then I'm going to put Baroja, the rookie, Jorge Baroja, in center field. And Baroja's shown me that he's a really good fielder, defensive player out there. And so I saw that more of what he should have been doing earlier. And so I like those kinds of decisions.
I brought it up where Torrey, they started running, and now Corbin Carroll's in the 30-30 club. First Diamondbacks ever.
Isn't that something?
And when they started running again, Torrey said, well, after the trade deadline, we're more athletic now than we were before. And I was like, what? yeah, you got rid of Suarez. He shouldn't be running. Yeah, Naylor shouldn't be running either. You're right. But you've had the speedsters, minus Blaze Alexander with injuries or whatever. But you've had the speedsters all year long. Why weren't you running then?
Well,
it's just constant with Torey Lovello and this management. And I put Hazen in there as well. It's just constant. I phrase it as, Dale, right? Don't let your players be great. The Diamondbacks are so cautious, always wanting to set up. We have to be ready for the postseason. They went to a 4-man rotation a week ago.
Yeah.
And the reason why they said they were doing it was they want Gallen to be ready for game 1 in the playoffs if they make it. What? How about we make the playoffs first?
Yeah.
They're always making moves with the eye of 3-4 months down the line instead of here in the now, and that's where I get frustrated with the way they run this team.
You can make that argument for sure, but and look, Torrey also came out and said, look, our prize number one top rated minor league player, Jordan Lawler, is not going to play defensively the rest of the way.
And
He
he
said,
won't
"What-"
and he won't go up against right-handers either.
He said he's going to go as a designated hitter.
Yep.
Now,
Only against lefties.
right. And so what
Why? You don't know what you got. That he refuses to let players go be great or just fail.
So in other words, you're telling me that Lawler's only going to play when Bruce Cooper's on the mound.
basically, and look, I don't know what that does to the confidence of Lawler.
Yeah.
But I mean, to publicly say that,
Yeah.
I totally
It's-
disagree with.
I mean, the only start where nobody had a disagreement with was Thought's last start, where he went the 9 innings, almost pitched a no-hitter, and they ended up losing in the extra innings. That was the only game that you remember where he didn't either leave a starter in too long or pull him out too early, and everybody complained about it. And it's just like we had to wait till September
Well,
when you're in a playoff push before you start letting your guys be great.
Well, Steve, I'll say this, and I've asked myself this question. The Diamondbacks have had a glut, an unusual number, an aberration of Tommy John pitchers. So I asked myself this: is it something that medically they aren't doing or are doing, or should they manage their pitchers better in terms of not letting them go too long? So I asked myself that question.
Yeah, I have an answer
But
to that.
and I don't have an answer for it. So the fact that and when I've seen him bring like Ryan Nelson, he's been going really good, and I'm like, dude, you're pulling him off, and then you go to the bullpen. So when I look and I say, well, geez, we have had a number of people, an inordinate number of people on Tommy John. Maybe that goes into their thinking. And then you mentioned Brandon Pfaadt, yeah. So you look,
Well, because Torrey has said all year long, well, I know how he feels the next day. I know how he feels the day after, and we got to protect him from that.
yeah.
Name another team. I watch a lot of baseball. You don't hear the Yankees going, well, I know how he feels tomorrow, so we don't want him out there to do good things. They go out there and they put him out there. If they have a no-hitter going, they're watching him. They're leaving him out there. Torrey will go and get him, in those situations. It's just let him be great. And if you manage on the side of fear of injuries, you've already lost.
Well, let me say this. If I knew the answer, I would because I've never seen anything quite like this.
It actually happened. The Diamondbacks actually have escaped it the last couple of years. Yankees, they lost 2 of their starters, one before the season even began, and one at the beginning of the season.
Okay,
it's a big thing.
so what is leading to all these Tommy John injuries?
I have my theories, Dale.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
They don't get them ready for the season.
I believe
That's what it is.
it's the babying of arms. Why didn't Randy Johnson ever have Tommy John surgery? 6 foot,
Nolan Ryan.
6'8" guy.
Yeah. Every power pitcher today, young one, has Tommy John surgery within his first 2 to 3 years. Paul Skeens, if the history is there, Paul Skeens is going to have Tommy John surgery in the next 2 years
And
in baseball.
and you
but
think it's
you
'cause they're
never
babying
saw it
him.
before. Yes, they don't prepare him properly.
I heard Randy Johnson tell a story about his opening day start in 01 or 2000.
He threw 125 pitches.
No,
or whatever.
160 pitches.
Yeah.
160 pitches, complete game, first game of the season, opening day.
I think it was Buck, right?
Yeah, Showalter, I think.
Everybody
the
was
man.
losing their mind
Yeah.
when that happened. Yeah.
He had a fine season, from what I remember.
Well, he was a 3-time Cy Young Award, so I guess. Yeah.
It's the same thing with football. You don't set your body. The Diamondbacks, they didn't do it as much this year. They did it a little bit, but last year especially, they were, well, we don't want to pitch too much in spring training because we got to have my arm ready in September. You can't play that way. You just can't. Your body's not ready to go through the ups and downs of the season at that point.
And there is a correlation between the way that they get ready for a season in baseball and now the way they're getting ready in football. Protect our guys. We're not going to play them in preseason. We're not going to have contact. We're not. You're losing guys left and right. And Najee Harris,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's
that was
soft
bad.
tissue injury.
But Dale, I can point you to athletes who got hurt in preseason
Yeah.
and lost for the season, and
Yeah.
so people then say, "Well, why are you doing it?" So it's
Yeah.
just like you,
Yeah.
you damn.
I
you damn-
understand
I'll
that.
even go a step farther. Players like George Kittle worked out on his own all offseason for the San Francisco 49ers. Came in. They said they came in with the best shape they've ever seen George Kittle come into football shape into.
Yeah.
Tears his hamstring
Yeah.
off the bone first game of the year.
Yeah.
He came in too good a shape. He came in just absolute shape, but not football shape. So when the first game comes, he's not ready to go, tear his hamstring off the deal.
And let me tell
They
you
don't
this.
do the off-season workouts like they used to. They don't stretch them out like they used to. Guys aren't throwing year-round like they used to.
Well,
And it's,
isn't
they're
that
not ready to go.
Doesn't that fall more on your strength and conditioning coaches then?
Well, here's my theory, Coop. You can't pull fat.
Oh, my goodness.
Think about this. Think about this.
boy, I tell you.
Some of these dudes are so
Yeah.
strong. They're so sculpted.
Oh.
The one thing in the medical field that they have not found a way, to strengthen are ligaments and tendons.
I mean, you can go. Tiger Woods is a perfect
Mhm.
example. Always jacked, but as he got older, what happened? His back started hurting him a lot more because he didn't. He was just always just super tight all the time, and things like that. I mean, there's something to that. I used to talk to major league pitchers before I got into this side of the business, and I talked to them, and they just be like, "Yeah, my spring training, all it is stretching myself out, be ready for game one of the season." So there, just every outing, it's more and more. Now it's not like that. Now it's especially for the Diamondbacks. Oh, it's a long season, so we're going to ramp up into this season. So they don't even start pushing for regular season games till April, and then they're ready. Oh, we're going to be ready for June, July is when I'm going to be at my peak at that point because it's a long season, and you're setting yourself up for failure and injuries. That's my theory.
Well, I'll tell you what, that may have some validity to it in terms of ramping up because I was ready to throw the white flag on Zach Gallen and say, get him out of here. But, I mean, since that trading deadline,
No
maybe
expectations.
he's been ramped up at that point. I mean, he's been that ace guy.
He was the culprit. Remember last year, he was the one saying in preseason or in training camp they're having a missed start. And he was like, "Look, I put an extra. I think he said an extra 30 or 40 innings on his arm for the playoff run for the World Series, and so he wants to take it easy. This was last year now, not this year. Last year he said, I want to take it easy so my arm's ready and fresh as can be when we come to September and we hit the playoffs. And then they missed the
Well, and all that again. I don't know if there's a concrete answer to the way you can avoid that, but I do know this. I remember last year at this time they had a chance to make the playoffs.
Dude,
And
they
you're-
had a 3-game lead with 7 left to play, and they blew it.
And-
3-game lead, 7 left to play, they blew it.
And they rested Ketel Marte on a Sunday, just like they rested him on a Sunday before the All-Star game this year.
Well, then
They wanted to be ready for the playoffs.
they rested him, a week or so ago, and he's been I mean, he's had all right games since then, but he hasn't been the superstar pushing to the playoffs since that foul ball. He hasn't been there on top of it. And then you got guys like Blaze Alexander. We talked about that last week. Playing the day after his elbow looks like my neck, just swollen the size of my neck out there. It's just an unfortunate thing. But look, I mean, the bottom line is, and this is the problem that you have with Torey Lovello, is are you fine with this type of Diamondback? This is what Torey Lovello's been his whole 9 years here. They don't run away into the playoffs. They back into the playoffs. If they get there, they underachieve throughout the season. Take out that 110 last year because he had no talent that year. And they're gonna have and stuff like and they're gonna have lesser talent next year, which he's performing with now. And they're developing. They're finding out. Blaze Alexander is a great utility guy, right? Tim Talwa is a great utility guy right now. They have talent here and things like that. But is Torey one of those managers that's going to get you to that next level?
Well, I always ask myself this. Does it appear that the players are tuning the coach or the manager out? And I can't definitively say that that's the case with the Diamondbacks. But I will say this, and I go back to a story that Dale told, because we talk about how Torey kind of babies Cattell. And Dale tells a story. I believe it was Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess that's true. I mean, you know, you have to earn your right to be babied. Basically, is what Dale preached at Jimmy Johnson.
But there's
But here's the
baby.
thing. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
You want your Cattell Martes
to be the best.
to be the
workers.
best, most hardworking
Right.
dudes on your
I
team.
got you.
You know, and because the others try to tell about Jimmy Johnson, we had multi-time Pro Bowler Mark Stepnoski, 5th year in the league, hadn't missed a practice, hadn't missed a game, missed an afternoon practice in training camp. That's back when we're going 2-a-days. We're going 2-a-days. We're going full pad.
This is a
full
great
pad,
story,
full pad.
Bruce.
And he tweaked his ankle in the morning. He's out there in the afternoon, just has his jersey on. Jimmy walks up to him and goes, "What's going on, Mark?" He goes, "Coach, I tweaked my ankle. I haven't missed a practice or a game, in 5 years." And Jimmy goes, he said, "This is the first practice I've missed in 5 years." And Jimmy looked at him and said, "I haven't missed any," and turned and walked away.
There's
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
there's protecting guys and giving them a little bit more freedoms as your superstars, and then there's just flat out in a big moment game saying, "Oh, you want to sit out? Okay." If Michael Irvin went to Jimmy Johnson back in the day and said, "Coach, I don't want to play Sunday. I'm just not feeling it." I don't think. I'm not saying you would have
Yeah.
cut him, but that wouldn't
Yeah.
have gone over well.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Trust me, I'm with you guys 110 on that. But it just goes back to, again, I just don't think that I've recognized or noticed players that have tuned them out. Now, I will say this: the report that I believe it was Nick Picoro that when he talked about how there was almost like a mutiny in the locker room, or the clubhouse, relative to Marte missing anything, and so that became so public to the point to where I'm like, wow, okay, Torrey, you got a problem here.
Right.
Well,
But-
then he did it after he fouled that ball off his foot. What, a week and a half ago or so, a week or so ago?
But it certainly seems like that must have been addressed.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you
I was
don't
gonna get
hear
to
it.
That story specifically
Yeah.
said Torrey Lovullo is afraid of Cattell Marte. It flat out said they're afraid he's going to sulk and be a baby, and they don't want him to do that. And
Right,
that's a dangerous thing.
Right, but it's also curious that kind of has spurred or helped spur their renaissance.
Yeah.
So I agree. Something was said,
yeah.
and maybe, and we don't know what it is, but maybe
Don't the players-
Cattell saw himself in that one-way mirror and says, "Hey, look, if my guys are like this, I mean, because he
had a press conference
yeah,
on
because he had that little mea culpa press conference, and so it's like you don't say I'm sorry unless you're acknowledging some type of.
But
fault.
I mean, here's the other side of it. Forget about Lovullo being afraid of him or whatever the phrasing was. But players have to address that. And you can't tell me that Perdomo, Suarez when he was in that locker room, Naylor in that locker room, those guys did not miss games.
Yeah.
Suarez would get hit by a ball and be like, "I'm out there the next day."
Yeah.
You can't tell me that
But
they
is there
weren't
anybody
addressing.
in that locker room? Again, if Randy Johnson, Mark Grace, Luis Gonzalez were on this team, would Marte be a little bit different?
You gotta say so because sometimes you have to you need that player
Yeah.
that I know where you're going,
Yeah.
that player that takes control of that locker
And
room.
I don't know of anybody on the Diamondbacks who has that.
I think probably the closest one to that is Perdomo, but does his voice really resonate
Right.
like Randy Johnson
Right.
or Luis Gonzalez?
Oh, I mean, Mark Grace, Randy Johnson, they would have taped him to a locker, told him he's getting out there. There would have been serious repercussions, possibly a fight in the locker room on a player that pulled that stuff and would be gone, right? And they're out there. So we'll keep it rolling when we come back. Your Diamondbacks, one game out, starting tonight. They got to keep winning. I think it was Mets. Diamondbacks have to go like 5-1. Mets have to go 500, and Reds have to go, I think, just under 500 for them to have a chance.
Well, no, that's not true. If the Diamondbacks went 5-1, the Mets.
I think it was the Reds, dude.
Right. The
Reds have to lose two more games.
because all the Mets have to do is lose one game, and the Diamondbacks own the tiebreaker on them.
Okay.
But they need the Reds to be
To lose two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up and see if there's an update on that stat out there.
Hey, was there a college game last weekend? Did some team go deep in the heart of Texas?
Some team did.
Are you talking about SMU? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Come on back, folks. Main event, second hour, coming up next. As we're back here, main event, Bruce Cooper joins us on Tuesdays every week, folks. Always a good time to have him here. Of course, long time. You guys, you, of course, hosted on Channel 12, Sports Night, or whatever, Locker Room, or what they call that. And Dale would come and join you.
Yeah, him and Dan Minucci, we call them the Killer D's, and of course, Dale always brought these lame thoughts to the table.
And eventually I'm the one who got killed.
Not much has changed then, Bruce. Not much has changed. That's all I'm saying on that. So. We just got done talking Diamondbacks and the excitement there and everything. I was trying to find Jack Summers from SI, who's going to take a step back here from his duties there. He's still going to write, but he's taking a step back a little bit. Put out that updated stat regarding what the Diamondbacks have to do in there, and it's a Herculean effort, but the Diamondbacks went from 1% to 10% chance to make the playoffs.
While you're looking for that, I got a question for both of you.
Okay.
Bruce first. Next Tuesday when you come here, are we getting ready for a playoff series here in Arizona? Or are we putting the finishing touches with our shovels?
I think we're putting the finishing touches, and I'll tell you why. I mean, if you look at the final 6 games that the Reds, the Mets, and the Diamondbacks have left to play, by far and away, Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks' final 6, much, 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 much tougher than what the Mets and Reds are dealing with in their final 6.
Here's the problem the Diamondbacks have. If they go out, let's say they sweep the Dodgers.
Oh, boy.
That puts San Diego in the place to steal the division, which means Dodgers have to play these 3, which means then if you do well against the Dodgers, that means the Padres have to play to try to win the division in the next 3. And that's the problem that the Diamondbacks have, is their competition isn't settled in terms of the division yet at that point. So, so basically, here's the chart. I know you can see this here, Bruce, but, Diamondbacks if they go 6-0,
okay.
Then the Reds have to go 4-2 in order, for you to catch the Reds, who have the tiebreaker against you. If the Diamondbacks go 6-0, the Mets have to go 5-1 in order for you to pass them and win that spot from there. So even if you go 4-2, right? Let's go more realistic. Just they win 2 out of 3 on each of these, so 4-2 going into this. So if the Reds go 4-2, Diamondbacks have to go 6-0. Mets go 4-2, Diamondbacks would have to go 5-1. A Herculean effort here.
Are the Mets? Again, I'm not even really that concerned.
The Reds.
Of the Mets. I'm concerned about the Reds.
Because the Mets have the Cubs for 3, and Cubs have kind of clinched everything up there. But they're still going to be playing, setting their lineup and everything.
Look, I believe the Marlins are on the roster or the schedule for. Is it the Reds or is it the Mets?
The Mets, I think, last 3.
Mets last 3.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. So if the Reds just go pedestrian and go 3-3 over their next 6, Diamondbacks have to go 5-1 in order to beat them. It's just the Reds are the biggest threat now. Nobody saw the Reds in this mix. They've gotten on fire lately to get there, but that's why it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
the Reds more than the Mets.
If the Reds and the Mets had a more challenging final 6 games, then I'd like the Diamondbacks' chances a lot more than I do now.
Yeah.
Right.
But the Diamondbacks are the ones that have the really challenging final 6 games of the regular season.
Right.
And good I'm kind of rooting for the Reds to make it. If the Diamondbacks don't make it, I'd like to see the Reds get there.
I am too.
Young team, of course,
too.
long time Arizona, guy down there.
Well,
imagine that team.
Well, I'm still bitter with the Diamondbacks blowing the 3-game lead with 7 to play, and it was the Mets that benefited from it. Yeah. So I'm okay with the Mets.
Let's go from that disappointment. Look, you got to give them credit. The way this team's built, they're not adding payroll. Torey Lovullo is going to be back next year. Mike Hazen's going to be back next year with this team. You don't blow the coaching staff out when you're not going to have your workhorses coming back next year, meaning the pitching guys or whatever.
Right.
And this team with no expectations might be able to put a little run together and stay competitive all year long until he gets to stay. I just contend if you're with Torrey, if you want to win consistently and make playoff runs, Torrey and his staff is not the guys to do that. So, but if you get rid of Torrey, can you improve on that, or do you end up like Nebraska, where you're like, Matt Rule's now 4-12 against ranked teams at Nebraska?
Got
Hey,
tired of going 9-3, Coop.
Yeah.
Tired of going 9-3. All right, well, let's go 6-5.
So, there's a real danger, but at the same time, at some point, you've got to decide that mediocre is not good enough.
Nah, I'm all for Torrey staying. I really am. I don't look. We can all do Monday morning quarterback and question some of his decisions, like I did in the bases loaded, nobody out. But at the end of the day, I like the culture he's kind of established there. I just hated the fact that
Really?
they got. Yeah, I kind of hated.
That's
the
actually
fact,
what I hate the most.
Well, here's the deal. I hated the fact that they got away from that last year and this year. See, 2 years ago, they embraced the chaos. I said, boy, this is tough.
Yeah.
They put so much pressure on the opposition and wasn't even funny.
They were one of the first teams to start stealing baseballs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they've kind of morphed into more of a 3-run jack kind of a team.
Yeah.
And especially this past season when Naylor joined Suarez, and then you see some other guys putting up power numbers. Like, I didn't know that Perdomo had 19
power.
home runs and damn near 100 RBI in him.
The RBIs that would kind of catch your eyes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so they started, and then look, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is another one of the guys that could hit the big 2-run homer, big 3-run homer, or something. And of course, he's out for the season as well. So, the fact that we've seen the Diamondbacks trade away 2 big boppers, lose Gurriel to injury, and now they have to go back to their rabbits. I like this team, and I think Torrey does well when they run. They put pressure on,
with a young team with no expectations. Torrey does amazing.
Yeah, and they play extremely good defense. I think that's what serves the Diamondbacks.
But you add the Corbin Carrolls, you add the Naylors, you add the Suarez to the team, and then Torrey Lovello is just neutralized, I guess you can say. And that's the problem. Bob Brentley was great with the veteran team, won a World Series with them. Then when they started going young, he didn't know how to manage those.
Well, yeah, the veteran guys know how to get it done, especially when you have veteran guys like a Randy Johnson and a Kurt Schilling on the mound. Look, and the Diamondbacks didn't really seem to have too big of problems with their closer back then until they got into the World Series. I mean, when Byung-Hun Kim all of a sudden,
hanging curveballs right in the middle of the plate.
Kim, I think if you look at all-time great Diamondback closers, I think him and Papa Grande are my top 2 choices.
But the closers were like 1 or 2 years. Pop, Manti came in and just dominated as a closer and then just fell apart. They get a closer in here that dominates for small amount of time and then it just disappears.
Yeah,
it's the weirdest thing with this team and their closers. And one thing is, I'm just tired of hearing, we're going to do closer by committee. It drives me nuts. Guys want their roles. Guys need to know their roles, and they refuse to do that from there. So Brandon fought Ohtani tonight. Not going to be easy for the Diamondbacks with Ohtani on the mound. He can still sling it.
Well, I think they're still trying to stretch Ohtani out. I saw it wasn't long ago that he threw 5 innings of no-hit baseball, and he was done. So I think the Diamondbacks will be able to get into the Dodgers bullpen early in this one. And look, if there's a bullpen that has been as pathetic, I shouldn't use the word.
By the way, he was out in 68 pitches in that moment too, so he doesn't have the stamina to go deep.
Yeah, so I think the Diamondbacks can get into the Dodgers bullpen, which has not been a strength of theirs at all this year.
I'm going to tell you this right now. There's word on this, and when the playoffs come, Ohtani's going to move to the bullpen. He's going to play outfield, and he's going to move to the bullpen. Watch, it's coming. Because they're going to want him late game situations where he can go out there an inning or two, close out a game, or at least get them to where they need to go, because he can't start and go deep into a game. Plus, they have just every starting pitcher on the face of the planet that's any good on the Dodgers anymore. So
Well-
watch for Ohtani hitting the bullpen here coming up. That'll be an interesting playoff wrinkle coming up.
Real quick, tip of the cap to Clayton Kershaw retiring after this year, 10-2.
Well, let me tell you something. He's had his struggles in the postseason,
Yeah.
but he's been one of the more. You're right, one of the more dominant left-handed pitchers in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
Really, I mean,
Better than Randy Johnson?
Well, I was going to say in my era of watching baseball, Randy Johnson, Steve Carlton, I would say they're 1 and 2. But you
No,
know,
Steve
Clayton,
Carlton.
but I would certainly have to say that Kershaw is in that top 5.
Is he one of the greatest Dodgers of all time? That's the question I asked to Dale on
one of
this
the
show.
greatest Dodgers of all time? And
Is he up there in
goes
that level?
That goes back to Brooklyn too.
Well, I was gonna say,
Well, if you want to forget Brooklyn, forget Brooklyn. I mean, just he's one of the best pitchers there with a bunch of guys, but is he one of the best Dodgers?
Well, let me put it to you like this. See, I couldn't put Sandy Koufax in there because I didn't really see Sandy Koufax. So, but in terms of Dodger
He's
lore,
considered one of the-
I guess he's the best left-hander of all time.
Yeah.
And so I shouldn't just say left-hander. I mean pitcher.
No, he's
absolutely
the Dodgers' best. He's held up
Yeah.
as the Dodgers' best pitcher.
Yeah,
of all
yeah,
time. And I would argue Kershaw might rival him a little bit.
rival.
Might be up there.
Ooh,
Does Kershaw take over?
Well, hold on. You
Sandy
said
Koufax?
in your generation. What about Lefty Grove? Lefty Grove. Didn't you see it when you were young, Bruce?
Yeah, I
Vince
forgot.
Scully.
I forgot about him. I mean,
Yeah, Vince Scully's that time.
how many outstanding games did I go and watch him play?
Hill was just waiting to pull that one out. Pull out that. Yeah, it's fascinating when you think about the great Dodgers and his Kershaw. Because in my mind, Kershaw just was out there doing his thing. And then now that he's retiring and you see all of his stats and you think about it, it's like, man, he might be
you look
one
at
of the
his-
all-time greats,
Look at
Dodgers.
his strikeout numbers. I was kind of oblivious to that until you're looking at him like, geez,
I know.
man. Yeah.
Isn't that weird how in the moment, like Ohtani, you're like, Ohtani, one of the greats. You know, right now we're watching one of the greats play baseball. But I don't know if the world had thought that about Kershaw while we were watching him.
Yeah.
Where you were like, this guy, you knew he was really, really good, Hall of Famer, et cetera, but you weren't putting him into that level.
But
And now it's
you know what I thought that really tainted his stats or his stature or was his dude, you got to deliver in the big moments,
yeah,
man.
he's not going to be up there with, you mentioned him earlier. The guy ended up at Texas, pitched till he was like 42 or Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
Right.
He's not going to be in that level in my eyes because of that. Like Nolan Ryan just dominated you no matter what.
Well, just
So-
the career stats for Clayton Kershaw regular season: 222 wins. I would have thought there'd been more. 222 wins, 96 losses, 2.54
There-
ERA.
man,
there was a few years where the Dodgers
hey,
weren't
man,
great.
that is, that's getting it done, man.
Yeah,
That's getting it done.
yeah.
There was a few years there that he pitched with the Dodgers where he was the guy on the Dodgers.
Yeah.
They didn't have a lot until this new ownership.
He won
group came
21
in.
games a couple years. One year went 21-3.
Yeah, he was pretty dominant in the regular season. I remember that. I mean, and I would have guessed that he was pushing closer to 300
Yeah.
career wins. You know, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
He just sucks. It sums it up, Bruce. He just sucks. So, of course, let's get into it here with the Cardinals over the weekend. We've kind of gone in and out of that talk here. I fall on I'm not saying you fire Drew Penzing now. I'm saying Drew Penzing might not have the experience to coach this offense move forward. Then you got a head coach that's a defensive head coach. It focuses more on that and things like that. A lot of people still say Kyler Murray's the problem here, and this offense struggles because of Kyler Murray, and things like that. Where do you fall?
I haven't really seen Kyler Murray just where you say, God, he's terrible. I mean, look when I look at the Cardinals games, each one of their games, including the 49ers, their time of possession is double the team they're playing.
Yeah.
They're controlling the ball. They get down to the red zone, and the imagination
Kryptonite.
or the productivity in the red zone is just mind-numbing to me. Now, keep in mind, one of his Pesting's better calls in the red zone was there was a 3rd and goal, had a little swing pass, a little flare out to DeMarcado. Dude, you catch that, you can walk in the end zone.
walking in.
I mean, and so those come back to haunt you. Instead of a tie game, you have a 4-point lead. And so the whole complexion changes. But yeah, I mean, that's what to me is really mystifying, because at the same time, the Cardinals aren't running the ball worth a flip. But I'm hearing a lot of people complain about Murray's dinking and dunking. Well, the dinking and dunking is keeping them in possession of the ball and moving it down the darn field. They got to finish. They got to finish.
They have one humongous problem. And last year, I stood up for this group. I think both Steve and I did.
Yep.
The offensive line.
Yeah.
Last year, I thought the offensive line was very underrated. I thought they played a lot better than the national the national opinion of them.
Even after they lost Will Hernandez and some of those guys, they were performing and opened up those holes.
Yeah.
You look at this year, first 3 games. The guards aren't getting it done. You can talk about Murray all you want and why can't he go deep, but there's somebody in his face.
Yeah.
He catches the snap in the shotgun, and one of the guards is getting pushed 3-4 yards back immediately.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, Dale, because, see, Murray's doing a lot of scrambling. I mean, he's making some of those Murray-type runs out of that. But at the same time, too, I go back, and I'm just a real big proponent of this, because I'm going to get into the run game a little bit with your offensive line there. But I still go back to this. I can't get past this. About 4 years ago, Cardinals started the season 7-0.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were 10-2. They lost a guy named DeAndre Hopkins, and they lost 5 of their last 6, including that embarrassing playoff loss to the Rams.
Right.
DeAndre Hopkins was that guy. If it was 3rd and 1, 4th and game, he caught the ball. Or if you threw a 50-50 ball up, he made that catch.
Against the Bills in 2020.
Hail Mary against Bill. Dude, since DeAndre Hopkins has left the Cardinals, and look, I'll give Gannon and Austin Forth credit. They thought they had that replacement in Marvin Harrison Jr. Dude, I watched a number of Ohio State games. I never saw Marvin Harrison drop as many passes as I am seeing.
But he was more
alarming.
open. But he was always open.
No.
Dude, he was open Sunday and dropped the darn ball.
Yeah, I know. That's issue number 2. But he was always open in college.
But that aside, look. So you have to have a quarterback has to have that dude. He has that, unless your name is Brady, unless your name is Mahomes, you have to have that dude. Aaron Rodgers lost Devontae Adams. He wasn't that dude anymore.
Right.
I mean, you can go down and you can just pick out receivers and quarterbacks. And Murray had that with Hopkins. He doesn't have that now.
Well,
and
then let me interrupt you real quick.
Okay.
He does have a receiver. It's a tight end.
But
But the tight end is not the big play guy. The tight end and McBride's as good as anybody.
Right, he is. But even when Travis Kelce at his best in Kansas City, he had some dude named Tyreek Hill that cleared it out.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyreek Hill, he commanded a double just because of his speed. I just and so I'm like, in this offseason, I said, God, Keenan Allen still available? Cardinals, why don't we go get him? This dude knows how to get open. He can make those 4th down catches, those games that are on the line. And yet they didn't do it, and he's back with
But it's because this offense does not prioritize wide receivers.
It's clear, and so now I'm gonna get back to the running game, and again, James Conner, he really shocked me a year ago. I know the Cardinals drafted Trey Benson to be that second dude, but let's look at last night in Detroit. Detroit has a speed guy.
Can't compare him.
No, well, you can't. But I'm gonna talk about this though. I'm gonna talk about this.
I know where you're going with this.
He has a speed guy in Jahmyr Gibbs, but then he has a foot guy, a feet guy in Montgomery. And in Buffalo, because we were talking in the break, Buffalo has this feet guy in James Cook. So In other words, going back, Detroit Lions used to have a pathetic offensive line, but they had a feet guy named Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders can make his offensive line look good. Now, for the Cardinals, they have too many backs that are about the same. You know, I mean, look, Mercado and Benson are kind of like speed guys with a little bit of power. Connor's a power guy. Their best feet guys are Michael Carter, and even we haven't seen him much because he's been with the Cardinals for just this year, Bam Knight. They have to be able to get guys who can create running lanes by them own. Did you watch David Montgomery last night?
No.
The fact that he
Yes.
was able to create with his feet and found a crease and buy you. The Cardinals don't have that. They just don't. But they have some people on their roster who can do that. They just don't do it. They're just stuck in the mud.
I
Doing
will,
the same
I
damn
will
thing.
say this also. Defenses are, I'm going to say, loading the box. They're not
Okay.
necessarily
Okay.
blitzing or something like that, but they're filling those gaps with
Okay.
an extra guy
I-
to stop that run.
I get you there. And see, that used to be my argument with the Cardinals forever. Cardinals had a guy named Garrison Hurst. And then they had a guy named
what
God,
did Hurts go on and do?
Well, exactly. And then they had a guy that they drafted. Gosh, I'm losing his name. Played for the Bears too, and he had 1,000-yard season. First round. My gosh, I can't think of it. But in other words, there were 2 first-round draft picks that the Cardinals had, and they never did anything in the Cardinals because the teams loaded the box. And I always said, hey, look, you have to get dynamic on the perimeter. You have to stretch teams out. And that's why I really loved when Denny Green came, because Denny Green with the 3-wide concept, all right? And he drafted some guy named Larry Fitzgerald. So now you're pulling people out of the box, and so now you can have running backs that don't have that name, but they can do. I mean, like David Johnson, for instance. I mean, who's David Johnson? I mean, but because you had dynamics,
Yeah,
and
you got
he
him outside.
Guys, it's really driving me crazy. I can't think of the guy.
I got them all listed here.
Okay, he was in the they had drafted Garrison Hurst in '93. They drafted this guy, and I believe it was 2000.
This has to be like you're not talking about Marcel Ship, are you?
No. He was a first round pick, and he went on. He left the Cardinals, and like Garrison Hurst went to the 49ers, became a 1,000-yard rusher.
Dominated.
This dude left the Cardinals and putting up 1,000 yards with the Bears
The
and
90s, huh?
yeah, I believe it.
Well, 2000 you said?
Yeah, I think
Val?
it was year 2000.
Well, if it was 2000, it'd have to be Tim Hightower. No, it's 2008.
No.
So between those two,
No.
Marcel Ship was 2001.
No. Okay. Well, maybe it was 1999, 1998. Because
Pittman, Michael Pittman.
no.
Oh, really?
No. His first round pick. This guy. Gosh, it drives.
It's killing him here. I got everybody up here.
It really is. He wore number 20.
Man,
With the Cardinals.
the memory on you is ridiculous.
Look. It is. I'm. Gosh, why is it? Is it Tommy? Is it Butler? I mean, it's. There's a name. This dude.
It's not Beanie Wells. I know you're not thinking of
Well,
him.
no, Beanie Wells wasn't. He was a first round pick with the Cardinals. But he was like number 31. But this dude was like top 10. Cardinals spent 2 top 10 picks. Garrison Hurst was like number 3 overall.
Yes.
This guy that I can't remember.
Well, he wasn't that memorable. If
Well, he went on to have 1,000-yard seasons when he left the Cardinals.
Ronnie Brown.
No.
Well, it's either Ronald Moore, Ronnie Brown, or Trey Benson. They're the only number 20s.
Well, maybe he's 20. Maybe he was 20 with the Bears.
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
funny. I don't remember who was
but-
after Garrison Hurst, to be honest. with you.
Yeah. There was a first round pick, a running back. Gosh darn it! What?
You're saying he's in the first round.
First round pick with the Cardinals.
Okay, so from 93 on, 'cause they didn't have one in 92, Garrison Hurst, Ernest Dye, Jameer Miller, Simeon Rice, Tom Knight, Andre Wadsworth, David Boston, L.J. Shelton, Thomas Jones.
Thomas Jones is the guy. That's
He went
him.
after the Jets.
Thomas Jones is the guy.
That wasn't on my list.
Was he in 2000, Dale?
He is in 2000, number 7.
Yeah, he wasn't on. So don't search. Obviously, they must be crediting him to the Jets because he wasn't on that list. that we had with him.
When he left he had 1,000-yard seasons with the Bears
Yeah.
and the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, and so it always boiled down to the same darn thing. The teams loaded the box. And so if teams want to load the
There it
box
is.
now, you have to get dynamic on the perimeter. And the fact that the Cardinals, granted, they spent the 4th overall pick on Marvin Harrison Jr. They have not added to that. They have not. Look,
But they don't. But why would they add to it when they don't prioritize wide receivers?
But here's
If they had a second receiver, say Keenan Allen, we'd be in the same boat we're in now.
Hey, look, you don't spend the 4th overall pick in the draft on a wide receiver if you don't want to prioritize them.
Cardinals did.
Well, I just think they got the wrong. I think they got the wrong dude because the LSU duo of Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas.
That was my question to Dale. Would it be different if you had Neighbors in here?
I think so. He's so look. He has that Tyreek Hill type of speed, and it takes me back again to an ASU wide receivers coach, Prentice Gill, who recruited. He's told me he recruited both Neighbors, Thomas, and Harrison when he was in college, as a college recruiter.
Right.
And when I asked him who would he take with the 4th overall pick, he said unquestionably it would be Malik Neighbors. He talked about how dynamic this guy is in and out of his breaks. It's tough for defensive backs to stay with this dude. And so I just said, I'm gonna go with I would like Marvin Harrison because I saw more of his games at Ohio State.
But here's the thing that I said, and I did the Ohio State Penn State game last year. And I came back on that Monday or Tuesday, and I said, when at Ohio State when the ball's coming to him, and he's involved, he's all that in a bag of nuts.
Yeah.
But I'm a big body language guy, Bruce. Big body language guy. Coached for 20 plus years, and a kid could be looking at you just like this, and he could be telling you to go to hell without even saying anything. I'm a big body language guy. Marvin Harrison doesn't have good body language, and I know that doesn't come into play per se, but when you see him out on the field and his body language, it's a downer, kind of like Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Well, and two, I think I was hung up on Ohio State being wide receiver U. I mean,
Right,
you look in NFL, the Garrett Wilsons, the Chris Olaves, Becca, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. It was like a no-brainer for me.
Right.
But
LSU ain't far behind.
no, they really aren't. I mean, if you look, and so look in retrospect. Hindsight, Malik Neighbors is that guy.
The thing that gets me about Marvin Harrison Jr. is you can't tell me that he's catching every ball in practice and everything's perfect. He's running the right routes in practice and all that stuff. Then he gets in the games and now all of a sudden he's not focusing and he's dropping them and things like that. And I've asked Dale, that's not being at practice. Nobody's in those private practice. Even the media people, they go there, they have open practice where they stretch and then they kick you all out and then they do their thing. You can't tell me there's not warning signs in practice because the first 2 drives of the game, they looked at Marvin Harrison Jr. once, and it was like the 20th play of the first 2 drives that they even looked his way on that game. And if you want to get him more involved, if you have confidence in him to get more involved, you go to him early, and they refuse to do it.
Well, it could be a situation where Kyler Murray is saying the right things, but he doesn't believe it.
Well,
Because if I have a receiver that drops that many passes, look, there was a touchdown pass he should have caught in the darn end zone.
Yeah.
But they got bailed out because the receiver
That's
behind him was
Zay Jones.
got pass interference.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's the catch. DeAndre Hopkins
Look,
makes that catch.
I want to tell you
Most
this.
Most
receivers
receivers
make that catch.
I want to tell you this. So we focus on drops, obviously, because there's nobody within shouting
It's
distance
egregious.
of them. But here's the thing that stands out to me, and here's where I think you're actually onto something, Coop, which is me saying something.
What?
I don't know. I don't know if Kyler Murray trusts him. And I'm going to point out the play where Kyler thought he was going to run a go. He stopped.
Right.
And let me tell you what happened there. The play was called to go somewhere else, and Marvin Harrison stopped running his route. He stopped and he was watching. As a wide receiver, you don't ever do that. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where the coverage is going to bring the quarterback. And he was standing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. Kyler Murray threw it 25 yards down the field. Who knows what would have happened? Probably would have dropped it.
I'll have to bring that play in tomorrow
Might stop.
because I'll have to bring that play in tomorrow because not only did he stop, he didn't have his hands up to catch the ball. He just stopped running and just stood there.
Just stood
he
there
wasn't
and
ready
watched.
for anything.
And
Yeah.
then, because again, I go back to my playing career, and Troy telling me about what he looked at, what he thought, and talking about Troy Aikman. For Michael Irvin, 18-yard comeback, that inside foot hit 18. Troy's throwing the ball because he knows Michael's hitting that. He's coming back to 15. You can't cover it. He said by the late 90s, we're running an 18-yard comeback. On first down, we complete it. It's 2nd and 2. That's because the receiver cut the route 7 yards short.
Was that Rocket Ishmael?
And that's when you see quarterbacks having to do the pump. Well, I don't know what he's going to do. And so now all of a sudden you go, well,
Right.
if I don't know what he's going to
Good
do,
point.
I'm not really going to take a chance on him.
I'll go a step farther. Watch the big drop that Marvin Harrison Jr. had there, the catch in the end zone. What was happening with the quarterback? He was scrambling.
Sure is.
To me, I put it out on Twitter during the game. I said Marvin Harrison Jr. looks lost out there. It's not the design plays he's struggling with, but when Kyler Murray has to scramble, it's like he doesn't know where to go, what to do. He has no confidence in that moment. And if the ball comes to him, that's when he drops it because he's just like out there going,
But Steve and Dale, this is the problem that I'm seeing with Marvin Harrison. I didn't see it in college. He tries to body catch more passes than even on the week before. The week before
The end
against
zone
Carolina, they threw the fade in the end zone. You know, he's waiting for the ball to come here, which allowed the defensive back to knock it down. Dude, he's not sticking his hands out. And again, the 40-yard bomb that he let it come to his body and hit him in his chest.
Dale noticed. So that's what I said too. But Dale noticed he turned his head as soon as the ball hit his body. He turned his head and looked away.
No, he's talking
To
about
run
the
away.
week before.
He's talking about the touchdown one, but the big one in this game where he dropped it in the middle. Not only did he try to body it and missed it, but he turned his head to start running before the ball even touched his chest yet.
But
Dale caught that in the film.
And so you got that. But the thing that would bother me more if I'm an Arizona Cardinal fan or Arizona Cardinal is the fact that he's 6'3". They list him at 6'4".
Yeah.
You're
And
throwing
added
it
10 pounds of muscle, and you can see it.
And you're going up against a 6 foot tall cornerback.
If
And
you're lucky.
you go up and you catch that ball at its zenith, and guess what? Defensive back can't do anything. But you let it get down here, and that's when hands get involved, and that's when somebody can rip your arm down. And I don't think it's because he's afraid, but I don't know
concentration.
what it is because he would do that and call it.
Yeah, let
think it's concentration.
me tell you something. We got spoiled watching some guy wear number 11 because he never let anything come into his body.
Oh, no.
He was all about the hands.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, whether it's one hand with either hand or both hands, he caught with his hands.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Marvin Harrison do the same.
Yeah.
I mean, he
did
does-
it at Ohio State. That's what's baffling.
man,
I literally
I-
watched a video where an Ohio State fan put together a compilation of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s catches with guys on him at Ohio State. It was like a 5-minute long video. Always caught with his hand. And now all of a sudden, to me, it's a confidence issue. He's lost out there, doesn't understand where he needs to go.
But why?
And his confidence
He
is down.
has a Hall of Fame father that should give him
Yeah.
all the little
If you're the
nuances
Cardinals, aren't you bringing him in to work with his son and paying him to do
his
so?
son,
Put him on the
that's
payroll?
something his dad should have been has worked with him since he was a kid, toddler on up. I mean, his dad is now time for him to turn him loose. I mean, I don't understand this. I really don't. Look, I see Larry working with his son Devin, and look, Devin has a long way to go, but he's being tutored by his dad.
Right.
He's gaining some knowledge that most kids don't get.
No.
Marvin Harrison Jr. has gained some knowledge that most kids don't get, but his problem is not mental or anything like that.
I think it's
well,
mental.
I shouldn't say that, but
I think
I
it's
mean,
mental.
he's physically not using his hands the way he should.
But I mean, you know this. Once you lose your confidence,
Well,
you lose your form. You're
But-
not sure
but-
what's happened. Like
but-
that ball, I have no doubt when that ball was coming to him, he was so wide open. In his mind, he was probably going, "Don't drop it! Don't drop it! Don't drop it! Don't drop it! Don't drop it!"
But Steve, this is what I got to ask you. And I'll throw this out to Dale as well. See, we're talking about year 2 of the same problem.
That's the problem.
year one, you know, he's a rookie, and I said, okay, maybe he's overwhelmed and lost his confidence.
Yeah.
Year two, you've added 10 pounds of muscle, and you're coming in. It's a new season.
They worked out in the off season together. Kyler Murray and him worked out in their
They did all
trainings
and
stuff.
so,
Yeah.
dude, it's got to be a different level of confidence that you're coming in with. Yeah, you should. It should be everything that you're doing now. You're not guessing where I
think
should
he
be.
came in confident. You lose confidence over time.
I do want to point something out. Just to be fair, his rookie season, he put up decent numbers.
But Dill, he's also he did.
He put up decent numbers for a rookie. He just happened to be in a class where a guy drafted behind him had a magical.
It doesn't help that the Cardinals were like, we got our generational wide receiver.
Okay, Dill. The magical season you're talking about from Malik Neighbors came because Malik didn't drop any damn balls.
Right.
He's dropping balls and put up decent numbers.
Right.
All right, catch all your balls that hit you in the hand, and all of a sudden that decent season becomes a magical season.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, in all fairness, he had an above average rookie season. It's just when you compare him to other guys.
You know how you get a receiver confident in the game? Throw them early. Not the 20th play of your not the 10th play of your second drive. You have two long drives going.
But here's the deal. Then that goes back to the offensive coordinator because those first plays in that first series, they're all scripted.
That's what I
they're
can
scripted.
tell. We went through play by play yesterday.
Why wouldn't you?
Didn't even look at Marvin Harrison Jr.'s way to
But
throw him.
I'm going to tell you something again from my playing days. But you would think in your script, play 2, 3, or 4. It's an easy one to Marvin Harrison to get him going. You would think that would be in there.
A 2-yard slant
I
or
don't
maybe
care.
a wide receiver
A
screen.
stop route. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Chan Gailey was the coach in Dallas for a couple of years. And he would have Troy write down his favorite pass plays and turn them in every Saturday. And do you know Chan Gailey didn't call any of those pass plays in the first
That would make me angry.
in the first quarter of a game, whatever the script was? Troy came busting into my room on a Saturday night halfway through that first season. Slammed the door. He goes, that blankety, blankety, blank has me write down my favorite play. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback, whether you knew he was one then or not, at least a Pro Bowl quarterback, and you're not calling one of his favorite plays? What that's, to me, coaching suicide.
Yeah.
But why would you do it? Petzing, you understand. Get the ball to him early and try it and see if that gets him engaged.
Yeah, you know, another thing that bothers me about Petsy.
He's
Is-
bald.
Oh,
He's bald.
got a big head.
Well, look, I'm watching Lamar Jackson last night.
Yeah.
They have some designed rollouts for him.
Yeah.
They even and when I watch the Detroit Lions, they even run what they do with the Rams with Matt Stafford. They have the misdirection stretch play where they naked boot out.
Yeah.
It's either an option to run or pass. Well, you know, with Goff and Stafford, they ain't running.
No.
They're finding that tight end.
But that's the point, though. Tight end's running wide open.
Right. But even on those short, third down plays, fourth down plays, or whatever, even down in the goal line, dude, they're not using his legs to put pressure on the defense, and so that's what drives me crazy.
Yeah.
All of Murray's big play things that he makes, his ad libs, it comes off him, just
Being in the pocket, getting pressured, and have to find his
and
way out.
ad lib it. Right. And yet there's design plays of rollouts that other teams are taking advantage of this of their quarterback's mobility, and the Cardinals don't do it.
I'm sorry. Think about this. You get Kyler Murray out on the edge on a 3rd and 3.
Sure.
All right. Versus Matt Stafford out on the edge,
Absolutely.
3rd and 3.
Absolutely.
Who puts more pressure on the defense?
Dale.
And
You don't hear me.
Stafford converts it and does all that.
Yeah.
You don't hear me. I mean, it's like, and I listened to Gannon yesterday talk about. Well, I thought Petzing had his best play calling game of the year. I mean, I had no problem with it. I'm like, dude.
That was on
Dude,
98.7. He walked that back a little bit in his press conference.
Well, I can see major problems, especially look. I remember last year there were some plays that Petzing did use where again Murray he's showing one way nakeds out the other way, and it's an easy first down, and
Yeah.
and the clock and the chains are moving.
Yeah.
He's not even doing that.
Well, I mean, like we brought this up off air, but I mean, and I know we're escalating to a level the Cardinals aren't at. They're not at the Ravens. They're not at the Lions. They're not at the Bills.
no.
But look at those offenses and what they do with their quarterbacks and make them. Even look at the Bears with Caleb Wilson. He's not. We don't know what Caleb Wilson is yet. But look what Ben Johnson's doing
Not
with
Caleb
him.
Wilson.
Oh.
Caleb.
Williams.
Oh, Williams. Wilson. Well, we got breaking news in football, by the way, so that's why I said Wilson.
Uh-oh.
If you get my hint here,
Uh-oh.
my Dale, I told you it was going to be week 3 to week 5. This is going to happen.
He's been benched and it's now Jackson Dart's game.
Russ and Wilson. Sources say Wilson's being benched. Jackson Dart's getting the start for the
Wow.
Giants. Dable's trying to save his job. But besides that, it's just you watch these other offenses and they're creative. They move the ball. They get it around.
Yeah.
And then that's why they're this is my contention on the red zone when they cannot score touchdowns in the red zone. They are so predictable on offense, and they don't change it up at all. Then there's drives where Drew Penson, we played the clip earlier, he said, yeah, we threw it deep. They threw it deep in the third quarter of this game on San Francisco. Why aren't you doing that in the first or second quarter? You know, why are you waiting so long to get into that? And then you went away from it at the end of the game on top of it. It's just there's no innovation. There's no – now, and I'll even give Drew Penson some credit here. He's a young coordinator. You might not know how to solve this problem.
Let me tell you something. When we start talking about these other teams, there's one glaring difference.
The quarterback?
No.
No, and look,
It's not
I
the
think
quarterback.
Murray's been okay, dude, honestly.
It's the offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, we can't. Again, I stood up for them last year, and I thought they played pretty well. They have not been good this year.
Ravens' offensive line last night, it struggled mightily.
They played against the Detroit Lions defense.
Hey, but let me say this though. You know, last year, one of the surprising offensive linemen to me was Yelder Froholt.
Yes.
I'm like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Because you know they brought him in from Cleveland because obviously they had a history with him there.
Right.
But he was like a guard. They put him at center, and I thought he really was nails.
Yes.
And so I thought Brown and obviously Hernandez played well. And then that right guard became a revolving type of situation until Isaiah Adams stuck towards the end of the season. So it almost seems like Austin Fort is, you know, I guess intent upon making his draft pick look good.
Yeah.
You know, hey, look, Isaiah Adams, he create the Cardinals can go down in there and they can get a first and goal at the 10, and yet they're bringing that play back because there was a penalty on the offensive line, and more often than not, it's against Isaiah Adams.
Yeah. The two guards are struggling right now.
I think I'm betting money we see Will Hernandez make a start this Thursday night, or at least come in and do some spot work here on the offensive line this week on Thursday night.
Well,
which would help out that guard.
At the end of the day, we could talk about play calling. We could talk about rolling Murray out, and I agree with all that. But if the offensive line, again, if you go back and watch some of the plays, a couple of the passes they tried to go deep, there is a dude a yard in front of Kyler Murray who had pushed, I believe it's the right guard, Adams, straight back in the pocket. You can't have that.
yeah. Well, Adams is the right guard
Yeah,
because
and-
Evan Brown's the left guard.
Left guard. And so I hope that Will Hernandez can maybe, and not only that, but bring a little toughness to that offensive line.
Yeah, you know who else is disappointing to me is Jonah Williams. They Cardinals spent a lot of money free agent wise on him at
Two
right
guys.
tackle.
Those are the two guys that are the problem.
Yeah, and you know, a year ago, it was Paris Johnson at left tackle and Kelvin Beachum at right tackle. Now Beach, I was watching him against Nick Bosa Sunday. I mean, Beach was really doing a heck of a job against
holding his
Bosa.
own.
Oh, he sure he was. And so I'm like, man, you know, as old as this guy gets, he's almost as old as Calais Campbell. But they know they're pros. They know how to play.
Right.
And so Dale, I would have to concur with you that the Cardinals' offensive line has been a major disappointment.
And it used to be, by the way, that was just the national narrative. Cardinals offensive line sucks. Cardinals offensive line. And I thought last year, I thought Froholt played at a Pro Bowl level.
Yeah.
Now he'll probably get that recognition this year. Paris Johnson is a really good, above average, probably top 10-ish left tackle. But if your guards are giving up pressure, getting knocked back, and they're not
In the
knocking
middle.
anybody off the ball, you got some problems.
Yeah, in
You
the
can talk
middle.
all the running, and do you want a foot guy or a speed guy or a power guy? If there's a 300-pound dude standing there, I don't care what you do.
I mean, that would
Unless you're Barry Sanders, you're right, Barry Sanders. Well, then there's been one Barry Sanders in our lifetime.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
that's-
Gale Sayers.
Well, I mean, that would explain why the running game doesn't have holes to run into
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Also,
Yeah, so I'm anxious to see what we see Thursday night, but I would love to see the Cardinals use players to their strength.
Yes.
And that's my argument with the offensive side of it. They don't. Rellis does it. He puts them in positions for success. Offensive side, they don't. It's glaringly obvious. They're just, this is our offense. This is what we're running, and it's not to the strength of some of those guys.
So see, those secondary receivers become important as well.
Mhm.
Because I'm telling you, if Zay Jones catches that 3rd and 9 pass, it's ballgame.
It's
Cardinals win.
He's in
Right.
concussion protocol
And
now. in a
he
short
caught
week.
it until he got down to the ground,
Yeah.
and the guy's stripping it away. Dude, I'm telling you, you cannot underscore the value of receivers in today's national football. Look, let me tell you something. I was watching the Cowboys game against the Bears, in which they got throttled. The week before against the Giants, I mean, CeeDee Lamb and all these guys, they're running roughshod. Prescott is matching Russell Wilson. I mean, throw for throw, and yet the Cowboys early on their first drive, they lose their number 1 receiver, CeeDee Lamb, for the game.
Yeah.
Dude, they didn't even look the same.
They don't
They
look
didn't
the
even
same.
look the same.
No.
And so now I understand he might be lost for 3 to 4 weeks.
4 to 6 is what I was reading this.
So
morning.
tell me this. So the one thing that we have not touched on, what is the impact of not having James Conner going to look like?
Well, let me tell you something. James Conner is that tough dude, but let me tell you something. If the Cardinals, if they started using some of the players to their strength, they'll be okay. Benson is one of those guys, and they're trying to run Benson outside on sweeps.
Yeah.
They need to run him
the
more
edge.
off tackle. You know,
Right.
like in between the tackles. And then if he can get a crease like Montgomery created for himself last
Right.
night, Montgomery just didn't have that closing speed like Gibbs, so he got caught from behind. But Benson has that closing speed. Damari DeMarcano has that closing speed. But where you and look, Sunday aside, when he dropped the pass, DeMarcano is a nice receiving back out of the backfield. You know, use him one-on-one.
That's what won
against,
him the job.
against these linebackers, but not just in flares, going beyond that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the thing. When was the last time they ran like a running back sweep to the outside? They don't run that stuff. Or in terms of a pass out there, a guy coming out of the backfield.
Hey,
now with Michael Carter, if he gets elevated, he's a guy that you could do that.
yeah,
to.
yeah, absolutely. Now here's the deal. I know Ben Johnson left Detroit and he's gone, so and a lot of the plays are still left there.
Yeah. Right.
But you got to give credit to their new OC.
Who
Look.
was in the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So he knows it, dude. It was like 3rd and goal for the Lions. So Goff hands the ball off to Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Yeah.
and then he was a quarterback who's running, and then he flipped it on a little option to Gibbs. Easy touchdown. I mean, I'm like, come on, Cardinals, give me something.
I don't
Man, give
think-
me something.
I don't think you have to get that creative
Well,
because
hey.
it's one team that's that creative, but you got to have something. I'm just telling you, when you're sitting in the stands, when the guy sitting next to me that's 7 beers deep and face full of nachos, when he's going, run to the right, then your offense is too predictable. You know,
Yeah.
and that's my problem with it. You got to
Yeah,
get some creativity.
I think the Cardinals can do okay without James Conner.
My problem is he was the heart, he was the soul. When he was the Larry Fitzgerald of this team, meaning he got the ball even if he didn't get yards. He worked hard in there, set the tone. I don't know who's going to set that now. Minus Will Hernandez coming back, he'll set that tone because he'll mess somebody up, on the defensive line. But I just don't know if they have somebody that's going to set that tone in an already lackadaisical offense.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe the Cardinals will do better because, again, I hate to keep going back to that season, but the Cardinals also had some guy named Christian Kirk, along with Hopkins, and they had some guy named A.J. Green. I'm still mad at it. Didn't turn around to catch that ball.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
A.J. Green wasn't great, but he's
a veteran.
he
that didn't
still
really- yeah,
allowed coverage to go over.
And
him.
so the Cardinals that year, I mean, Kyler Murray was one of the top 3 quarterbacks.
He's MVP conversation.
In deep passes.
Yeah.
So it's not like he can't. But I got to go back to Dale's point. I don't remember him being under duress when he was looking to throw those balls, those deep balls.
I actually argue Kyler Murray's probably the best when he's under duress, but not when his receivers don't know what to do and can't get open and drop easy passes that hit him on top of that. We got about 5 minutes left, Bruce, tonight. We'd be derelict of duty if we don't talk about, speaking of bad offenses, then you got Arizona State Sun Devils.
Yeah, look, their game against Baylor. I mean, again, it was kind of reminiscent a little bit of the Mississippi State game in the second half when they had these long, sustained drives, and they wind up with field goals. But when they needed it the most, it was 3rd and I believe about 9, a 61-yard pass play from their own end zone.
Yep, to a studio.
Yeah. Yes, right.
Where did he come from?
Derek Eusebio, a rocker. And so that's been my argument. Jordan Tyson is so dynamic, and I think this ASU football team, they are much deeper at the receiver position than they were a year ago.
Especially if Moss comes back.
Yeah, Jalen Moss has been he's pulling a relief Brown from a year ago. Yeah, and so. But they have to start using these guys. They start throwing. So now, for the second week in a row, they started using Shameir, the tight end.
They should number 7. They should have used. I always call him 7, but they should have been using him all along. He showed last year he's a good outlet that can go and mismatch for those guys. In the first couple of games, they didn't even look at him. They didn't even look at him in the first 2 games.
And they have a freshman tight end, Ia. Believe that's how you pronounce
the young kid. Yeah, 18 years old, 17 years old, that kid.
This kid's like 6'6", and he has soft hands. He catches everything. And yet, they don't even want to play him. And I get you got Kamari Anderson and you got Harpole. You got some veteran.
That was the kid we always play the videos here from fall spring
but
practice.
This kid, and I noticed that ASU's now start. This kid can catch, and I don't know if they want to try to save him for a red shirt. But why would you want to do that?
Well, he's 17 years old, so
he can help you now because he's soft hand. Look, you remember a guy named Deuce Robinson at Pinnacle?
Yeah,
Deuce reminds me so much of this guy.
Really?
6'6" target, soft hands. I mean, you can play him tight end. You can even spread him out. He's that athletic and he has that soft of hands. I don't know why you're going to hold a guy. And so in today's game of transfers, I wouldn't play that game. I'd play this kid.
No.
That's the problem.
I really would. And so they also had a guy, Jaron Hamilton, that they got from Alabama transfer. Now, he has all the speed in the world, but, you don't know if he's going to catch it at the other end. But they're starting to use it. Look, he drew a huge pass interference penalty. Yeah. And so I just,
against Texas State, he had a long pass that he ended up not catching at the end, but it opened up the defense.
Right. But I think they need to start going that route a little bit more because Jordan Tyson's teams they're not dumb. They're saying, look, man, we got to bracket this dude.
Yeah. Somebody else got to beat us.
Yeah. So the narrative coming out of the Baylor game was Arizona State's offense was terrible, and I think what we're getting caught up on when we talk about ASU's offense is their terrible starts to the game. And then they wake up in the 3rd and 4th quarter. They ended up with 400 of total passing yards in this game.
Yeah.
Right? 179 rushing, 221 passing. Is that what we're used to with this offense? No. But that's a respectable, good number against a good Baylor
But here's the deal. Give credit to Baylor. Baylor says, look, they are a run-heavy team.
Right.
And you're getting Kyson Brown back, too. So you talk about teams trying to stack the box. That's what Baylor was trying to do to try to take the Devils' run game. And so if that meant Levitt looking for more targets, I'm all for it because I think ASU can be more balanced than what they're showing right now.
My biggest concerns for them is penalties. They just continue to get penalties. I don't think you can solve that. But then also, when you win the turnover battle 3-0, and you're kicking a field goal to win this game with no time left, that's an alarming stat to see because you couldn't punch it in anywhere else on that side. There's something with the red zone in Arizona, too.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Both the Cardinals and Sun Devils.
Yes.
Like, literally, these teams are mirroring themselves. ASU, they have to figure out how to start a game fast, especially Friday night against TCU. If they come out slow, They're going to be down. They're going to blink and be down 21 points here. In this
I
game.
mean, you got those Horned Frogs. I mean, Steve was thinking they're going to look past SMU last weekend for the ASU game. I said, when's anybody ever looked at that?
They didn't have to look past them because SMU didn't show up. But same thing where you win the time of possession, right? 36 minutes, 24 seconds there in time of possession compared to their 23, and you're winning the game with a field goal. Those, just like the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Not scoring touchdowns on long drives and things like that is going to come back and bite you in the Big 12. And they've been lucky. They've been not lucky. They've been able to pull it out. That's eventually going to come back and bite you, though.
Yeah. So
Especially on the road.
Hey, look, this is a huge game. And so, look, I'm looking at the Baylor game as maybe a breakout game offensively for the passing game for ASU.
Yeah.
Because Levitt, as you know, came in with all the preseason Heisman hype and everything. He's not played up to that. But I thought this past Saturday in Waco against Baylor, he looked almost as close to Levitt last year,
I agree. Especially in the second half. Especially in the second. It's just they got to figure out this beginning of the game stuff. Their offense is terrible at the beginning of the game. No cohesiveness. They look, just they can't get anything going at that point. And it's alarming when you start a game. Like you said, we script this stuff. We're practice our first couple drives. We practice that all week long going into the game. And then you go out there and you just look terrible, right? 14 plays, 45 yards for 5 minutes, 44 seconds. Then they punted it after that. 6 plays, 23 yards on the punt after that Baylor field goal, right? From there. Then you start to see them move it a little bit, right? 13 plays, 83 yards. And that's where they punted it on their next one, that 3 plays, 2 yards there, right? Then the end of the half. They came out and they instantly, 5 plays and out, to punt it there. Then you start seeing the longer drives. I know after the fumble, it was a short field. If you got to get points after turnovers, I believe that's the key. And you prefer touchdowns, but you'll take the field goal in that situation. But then this one, the one that bothered me the most was the 10 plays, 66 yards, up 13-10 and not kicking the field goal on the roll. They went for that turnover on downs. They didn't convert it there. Then the next time, 5 plays, 21, that's where they kicked the field goal to go up by 6, in that situation. I would have actually probably done that opposite if I was them there. But then they open it up at the end. 7 plays, 84 yards, 11 plays, 49 yards there for the field goal to win it. It's just if they can do what they do in the fourth quarter in the first or second quarter, they're going to be all right.
Yeah, even in Mississippi State when they were down 17-0, well, they dominated the second half.
Yeah.
Dominated. So you're right.
Yeah.
You're
But
right.
I mean, in AU, they struggled when they first came out
They did.
as well
They
from
did.
that point,
They
right?
did.
Texas State, at the first half, I was like, you better come out fast. They did not come out fast.
Real quick before we get out of here, quick words on your boy Cam Scattaboo. He's going to become a national hero here before
Hey, I'm telling you, I thought that Cam Scattaboo's greatest asset going to the NFL was going to be his ability to catch passes out of the backfield. It doesn't matter if you're swinging it a wheel route or if you're putting him down one-on-one against a linebacker. This dude can catch. But I thought that would be his greatest asset. And so that touchdown run where he used his hand to keep his balance and just dove into the end zone. I mean, this dude. I love Cam. I love Cam.
He's going to become a name.
Well,
He
New
had another
Yorkers love
kid-
him too.
Yeah.
He's like the talk of the city.
If
over
you
there.
become big in New York, look out, baby.
Now that the starting running back, I forget his name right now, Taylor, I think it was, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Cam Scattaboo is going to get the ball more, and I think this is the time to move to Jackson Dart because you're getting some younger guys in there. Get Jackson Dart in there. Once they put Jackson Dart in on that game on Sunday night for that one play, I went, they're switching to Jackson Dart. They wanted to get him in. For that one, was a third down or something where he ran the ball for 3 yards. I was like, they wanted to get him in there, get his feet wet. Now they're switching.
Well, here's the deal.
It's not official. The Giants haven't announced it, but every major national guy is saying Jackson Dart's getting the start. And the thing that makes me mad about this move is this might save Dable's job. Jackson Dart's going to be a stud in this league.
Well, look, there's no turning back now. You can't turn to
Can't go
him
back to
now
Russell.
and then go back.
Right.
No, which tells me. Tells me that Dable might be able to save his job as it goes. I hope not. 'Cause I want him gone out of there. But this will be fun to watch with those two guys there, and I think you're going to find that Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby are going to have a composure with each other, being young in the league, etc. That might settle them down a little bit more than a veteran.
I think Malik Neighbors will be the biggest benefactor.
Oh yeah, because he'll actually get hit with the ball and that stuff. Bruce, thanks for joining us as always.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week, and we'll be talking about a Cardinals win against the Seahawks on Thursday.
Thursday.
An ASU victory over TCU, and the
On Friday.
Diamondbacks falling just short of postseason.
Well, what's the prediction? How many games out are they going to finish out?
I think they went up 2.
I hope it's not half or one. I want it to be 2 or more because one, it's going to be like last year where half where they lose the tiebreaker. I want it to be big enough that we don't have to sit here and be like, oh, my, so close.
Yeah, I just think that I just think that their schedule with the Dodgers and Padres and those teams needing to win, it's just it's too much.
Other breaking news. I knew this was coming. I was shocked it hadn't happened yet. Oklahoma State has fired Mike Gundy, according to Keith Hamill as well.
Really?
I knew
I'm 40. I'm a man.
Yeah, I'm 40. I'm a man. I knew it was coming. I wasn't sure if it'd be this week or next week, but Pete Thamel saying that has happened 9 minutes ago. He's out. 3 college coaches fired 4 weeks into the season.
Before halfway through the season.
Yeah. Yeah, and only thing saving Dabo Sweeney is
A $50-60 million buyout.
his buyout amount.
And I'm anxious to watch U of A at Iowa State. I think that they can. The Wildcats can actually beat the Cyclones in Ames.
You're drunk now.
Hey, no, let me tell you something. Iowa State has yet to play an impressive game. They're 4-0, and that's all that matters. Just win, baby. I get that. But they have not been impressive in any one of those 4 wins.
But Coop, if Arizona wins, then my steak dinner gets that much closer. You know that because I don't think ASU's beating TCU. And Arizona go 4-0. Look out, baby. I'm getting hungry.
Well, in that case, Steve, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Iowa State wins that game.
Most importantly, Dale just called the shot. He's going against ASU again this weekend. Dale doesn't like local teams, folks. Hit Helly up on Twitter. We'll see you next week, Bruce. Appreciate it. Everybody else. McCollum on Business will be around noon today, just a heads up. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow as well with Mike Sheehan from Scottsdale Christian Academy, his coaches show, and more. So come on back and join us, folks.